Number 8. Esther Afrifa. In the early morning hours of December the 22nd of 2019, 28-year-old Esther Afrifa poured a liter of sulfuric acid on her boyfriend while he slept in their home in Wembley, North London. The chemical compound quickly burned through Kelvin Pogo's t-shirt and inflicted painful wounds all over his eyes, head, face, and upper body. Afrifa subsequently pretended to call the emergency medical services, blocked Pogo's friends from dialing 999, and cancelled the taxi that had been summoned to take him to the hospital. He ultimately ran from the apartment, screaming in pain, at which point a passerby called for help. In the aftermath, Pogo was plagued by continuing mental trauma and irreparable disfigurement. Afrifa was found loitering in an alleyway a short time after the initial incident. She was taken into custody and criminally charged in connection to the horrific attack, which she'd reportedly committed because she'd mistakenly believed Pogo had been having an affair with a university classmate, prompting her to lash out in a jealous rage. Following a trial at Harrow Crown Court, Afrifa was sentenced to 14 years in prison. Number 7. Robert Massey. On August the 15th of 2022, British man Robert Massey went to his girlfriend's Merseyside flat, armed with an iron bar, and attempted to kick her door down. During the altercation that ensued, the 43-year-old poured vodka on the woman, identified as Jacqueline Forrest, and stole her bank card while threatening to light the alcohol on fire. Following the incident, Massey was given an 18-month community corrections order and was banned from visiting Forrest's residence for a period of 28 days. A couple of weeks later, however, the couple reunited and spent much of the August bank holiday weekend in her home. At about 7 p.m. on the 30th, Massey was looking through Forrest's phone while she was in the shower. He allegedly came upon text messages that suggested she'd been unfaithful with 2 other men, including his own best friend. The man saw red with jealousy and flew into a rage, confronting Forrest as she got out of the shower. As Massey later revealed to investigators, he proceeded to grab his girlfriend by the neck and straddle her on the bed before raining strikes down upon her head and face. He then strangled her until her body went limp, at which point he headbutted her. Massey told officers that upon seeing that he'd ruined her beautiful face, he decided to dress her corpse in designer clothes and jewelry in order to make her look better. However, the man then found a pregnancy test nearby and became violent once again, stabbing Forrest's womb with a kitchen knife, although it was reported that she hadn't in fact been expecting a child. Massey scrawled a collection of taunting words and messages on the woman's lifeless body before setting out to murder her 2 purported lovers. After his subsequent arrest, Massey faced charges of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and possession of a bladed article in a public place, to which he pleaded guilty. Following legal proceedings at Liverpool Crown Court in the fall of 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 28 years. Number 6. Rustam Mukhamadullin. Russian university student Rustam Mukhamadullin was dumped by his 18-year-old girlfriend, Kamila Tukvatulina, sometime in late 2020. On January the 7th of 2021, Kamila agreed to go for a walk with Rustam so that they could talk things over. However, the 22-year-old man, who had become jealous of an individual he perceived as his love rival, fell into a rage after he was unable to buy the young woman flowers because the florist was closed. Already in an elevated state of agitation, Rustam got into an argument with Camilla's father shortly after arriving at their home in a high-rise block of apartments. The confrontation abruptly escalated to violence when Rustam pulled out a knife and fatally stabbed both the 62-year-old man and his wife. He then went into the bedroom where Camilla had gone to hide from him and took the knife to her. Rustam later claimed not to have realized he'd attacked his ex until after she was already dead. He subsequently became distraught and stabbed himself before jumping out the window. The young man was found unresponsive outside the apartment, whereupon he was taken to a prison hospital for treatment. If found guilty of murder, he faced the likelihood of spending the remainder of his life behind bars. Number 5. Candice K. Douglas. On the morning of September the 7th of 2013, the police in Midland, Texas, responded to a report of vandalism in progress at the Summer Hill Apartments. Officers subsequently learned from eyewitnesses that 27-year-old Candice K. Douglas had slashed her neighbor's tires and scratched the side of her car with a knife, causing approximately $4,000 in total damage. The police took pictures of the vandalized vehicle and placed Douglas under arrest in connection to unrelated outstanding warrants. During the ensuing investigation, detectives gathered that the woman had likely caused the vehicle damage out of jealousy. She had recently sparked up a romantic interest in one of her male neighbors and allegedly viewed the owner of the car she'd vandalized as a love rival. Douglas was charged with criminal mischief between $1,500 and $20,000, a felony in the state of Texas. As of the latest available updates, it's unclear how the case ultimately played out following her arrest. Number 4. Cornelius Brown. In January of 2012, Cornelius Brown sparked up a relationship with 30-year-old Jade Riley Ward, whom he'd known since childhood, as she'd previously been his babysitter. They continued seeing each other for several months, but in September, Riley Ward texted the young man that she wanted space, citing his suffocating and controlling behavior. 23-year-old Brown became ragefully jealous, believing the woman to secretly be having an affair. On September the 22nd, he went to Riley Ward's home in Somercotes, Derbyshire, where he proceeded to stab her a total of 83 times with 4 different knives. Brown subsequently called his mother, who came upon the murder's horrifying aftermath a short time later. A neighbor had reportedly heard Riley Ward screaming during her boyfriend's unhinged attack, and a teenage passerby claimed to have heard the man shout, "Don't make me do it," at one point. Brown never denied responsibility for the crime and ultimately pleaded guilty to murder. In December of 2013, he was consequently jailed for life. Number 3. The killing of Naimade Ayu Surli Mahardika. An Indonesian university student was murdered by her jealous boyfriend on the evening of April the 8th of 2019. The Singaraja City Police Chief revealed in a subsequent press conference that 20-year-old Naimade Ayu Surli Mahardika was found dead inside her boarding room in Banyurasri village by concerned friends. There were bruises on her forehead, lips, and neck. Surli's boyfriend, identified only by the initials K.I., ultimately admitted to killing her because he was jealous of her male college acquaintances. The police chief further detailed how K.I. had entered Surli's home on the night in question and smothered her face with a pillow before punching her neck repeatedly until she stopped breathing. An autopsy determined the victim's cause of death to have been strangulation. The man expressed remorse for his actions, indicating that he'd been unable to control his overwhelming feelings of jealousy and hadn't originally intended to kill Surli. He faced the possibility of spending up to 15 years behind bars for the murder. Number 2. Cordelia Farrell. British father of 3, Wayne Coventry, was found dead at his brother's home in Bromsgrove, Worcestershire, on October the 14th of 2019. The 36-year-old had been brutally stabbed to death by his girlfriend, Cordelia Farrell, who fled the scene in the aftermath. According to eyewitness testimony, the 38-year-old woman had grabbed a large kitchen knife and plunged it directly into the man's chest, piercing his aorta and causing him to bleed out within a minute or two. The police organized a major hunt for Farrell, who ultimately turned herself in 5 days later. During the case's court proceedings, the details of the ill-fated couple's toxic relationship were discussed at length. Coventry and Farrell had reportedly been together for 2.5 years, during which time their relationship was characterized by violence and jealousy. Only weeks before their final fatal altercation, Farrell had allegedly bitten and twisted the man's genitals in another domestic attack. While being taken into custody for the assault, she presciently told the arresting officers that either she or Coventry was going to end up dead as a result of their contentious relationship. In October of 2020, Farrell was acquitted of murder, but found guilty of manslaughter, for which she was sentenced to 10 years behind bars. Number 1. Blarina Dobler. West London accountant Blarina Dobler was arrested for launching a jealousy-fueled campaign of harassment against her ex's new girlfriend over the course of several months. Official reports on the matter described how Dobler, a convent-educated woman who lived in a Richmond-upon-Thames mansion valued at more than $1 million, grew jealous of her former partner's new relationship and devised a plot to sabotage it. She reportedly posed as a male model online, ultimately convincing her unnamed 23-year-old love rival to share explicit photographs as well as a nude shower video. Dobler then uploaded the intimate material on social media without the victim's consent, going so far as to tag her family and friends in the humiliating posts. Throughout their online interactions, Dobler also sent degrading messages to the young woman at certain times, calling her frigid, boring, and pathetic. In court, the victim revealed that the torment foisted upon her by Dobler had prompted her to lose more than 30 pounds of body weight, quit her job, and even contemplate ending her own life. She said she was a shell of her former self as a consequence of Dobler's abuse. The latter was eventually arrested and charged with sending a communication of an indecent or offensive nature, to which she pleaded guilty in January of 2017. During a sentencing hearing at Camberwell Green Magistrates Court, Dobler was jailed for 4 months and given a 5-year restraining order, prohibiting her from making any form of contact with the victim. Thanks for watching. Would you choose to never feel jealousy again if it meant you had to pay 5% more in annual taxes? Let us know in the comments section below.